Once upon a time, a young girl named Lily lived in a little town tucked away at the foot of a mountain. She was not rich in gold or silver, but in kindness and laughter. Her family lived in a small, humble cottage on the edge of the village. Her father worked as a blacksmith, his hands rough from years of hard labor, while her mother tended to their garden, growing flowers and vegetables to help make ends meet. Lily often found herself wandering through the village, offering a smile or lending a hand, wherever she could. Her heart was as big as the sky, and even though they had so little, she believed there was always something to give. But, despite her radiant spirit, Lily couldn't help but feel a little lonely. Sometimes, she would watch the other girls at the market with their fancy dresses and laughter, and wonder if she'd ever find someone who could love her for who she was, not for the things she lacked. One crisp autumn day, as the leaves turned golden and the air grew cooler, Lily was carrying a basket of fresh apples to the village square when she collided with a young man. The apples tumbled from her basket, spilling across the cobblestone path. "Oh no," Lily gasped, kneeling down to gather them up. "I'm so sorry." But the young man quickly knelt beside her, his face kind and warm. "No, it's my fault. Let me help." He picked up the apples and placed them gently back into her basket. His eyes were a soft brown, and there was something about the way he smiled that made Lily feel instantly at ease. He didn't look at her with judgment or pity, like some others did when they saw her worn clothes. Instead, he simply looked at her with kindness. "My name's Ethan," he said as they stood up. "Uncle, I'm new to the village. I just moved here with my—" "I'm Lily," she replied shyly, brushing her hands against her skirt. "Welcome to the village." From that day on, Ethan and Lily found themselves crossing paths often, at the market, in the town square, or simply walking by the river. They shared stories, laughter, and dreams of bigger things, of faraway places, of lives beyond the village. But in each other's company, they found something that neither had expected: peace. Ethan, too, was not from a wealthy family. His uncle ran the inn in the village, and Ethan worked there as a stable boy. He wasn't ashamed of his life, but sometimes he felt as though he didn't fit in. But with Lily, he felt like he could just be himself, no pretending, no worrying about appearances. She never judged him for his simple life. She saw him, really saw him, and it made him feel like he mattered. As the weeks went by, their bond grew stronger. They would sit together in the meadow, surrounded by wildflowers, and talk about everything and nothing. Ethan would play his guitar, and Lily would sing softly, her voice like a melody carried by the wind. And sometimes they would simply sit in silence, watching the sunset together, knowing that the world felt just a little brighter when they were side by side. One evening, as the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Ethan took a deep breath and looked at Lily. "Lily," he said, his voice tender, "I know we don't have much, and I know we don't come from rich families, but I want you to know something. You are worth more to me than all the wealth in the world." Lily's heart fluttered in her chest, her cheeks turning pink. She had never heard anyone speak to her like that before. "Ethan," she whispered, "I feel the same way." In that moment, they knew that love wasn't about the things you owned or the amount of money in your pockets. It wasn't about fancy dresses or grand gestures. It was about finding someone who loved you just as you were, who cherished you in your quiet moments and lifted you up when you were down. And so, Lily and Ethan's love blossomed, not in the grand halls of castles or amidst treasures, but in the simple moments of everyday life. They worked hard, side by side, and dreamed together. One day, with time and patience, they built a small home of their own, filled with love and laughter. It wasn't much by the world's standards, but to them, it was everything. In the end, it wasn't wealth that made their hearts rich, but the love they shared, the kind of love that doesn't need anything but the two of them, together. And so, in that little village by the mountain, Lily and Ethan lived happily, proving that sometimes the greatest treasure of all is found not in what you have, but in who you share it with.